The United States is home to some of the most breathtaking and diverse national parks in the world. From snow-capped peaks to lush forests and vast deserts, these parks aren't just places to visit. They're life-changing experiences. But with over 60 national parks, choosing which ones to visit can be overwhelming. That's why we're taking you on a journey through the top 10 best national parks in the USA. Some of these places are so extreme, remote, or awe-inspiring that they feel like another planet. And trust me, the last one on this list will completely shock you with its extreme conditions. So, get ready to explore some of the most epic landscapes on Earth. Let's begin. Number 1. Yellowstone National Park, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho. Yellowstone isn't just America's first national park, it's the first national park in the world. Covering 2.2 million acres, it's a wonderland of geysers, hot springs, and diverse wildlife. But what makes Yellowstone even more fascinating is what's beneath it. A massive supervolcano. Yes, you heard that right. If it ever erupted, it could change the planet's climate for decades. But let's not dwell on doomsday scenarios. Yellowstone is a paradise for nature lovers. The Grand Prismatic Spring is a natural rainbow-colored hot spring that looks otherworldly. Then there's Old Faithful, a geyser that erupts over 100 feet into the air roughly every 90 minutes. Yellowstone is one of the best places in the USA to see grizzly bears, wolves, and bison in the wild. But remember, never approach these animals. Every year tourists get too close and the results aren't pretty. Weather in Yellowstone is wildly unpredictable. You might experience sun, rain, and even snow, all in the same day. So, pack for every season, even in the middle of summer. But if you think Yellowstone is impressive, wait until you see a canyon so vast it can be seen from space. Number 2. Grand Canyon National Park, Arizona. The Grand Canyon is one of the most famous natural wonders in the world, stretching 277 miles long and dropping to depths of over a mile. It's a place that truly puts life into perspective. Standing at the rim, you realize just how tiny we are compared to nature's raw power. What's even more incredible? The canyon is a living history book. The deeper you go, the older the rocks. Some at the bottom date back 1.8 billion years, almost half the age of the Earth. But here's something most people don't realize. Only 1% of visitors ever hike below the rim. If you're up for a challenge, hike down the Bright Angel Trail to the Colorado River. But be warned, the way back up is twice as hard. Every year, hikers underestimate the heat, and park rangers have to step in for rescue missions. In summer, the canyon floor can reach 115 degrees Fahrenheit, 46 degrees Celsius, while the rim stays cool and breezy. This temperature difference has fooled many hikers into thinking they can handle the heat. Don't make the same mistake. But if you think the Grand Canyon is huge, wait until you see a park where the trees dwarf even the Statue of Liberty. Number 3. Redwood National Park, California. Imagine walking through an ancient forest where trees stretch over 380 feet into the sky. That's Redwood National Park, home to the tallest trees on Earth. Some of these giants have been standing for over 2,000 years. To put that into perspective, these trees were already growing when the Roman Empire was rising. But Redwood National Park isn't just about trees. It's full of mystical landscapes. One of the most surreal spots is Fern Canyon, a narrow passage where walls are covered in lush green ferns. It's so stunning that it was used as a filming location for Jurassic Park. Keep an eye out for Roosevelt elk, which roam freely in the park. These animals are massive, even bigger than some horses. Cell service? Forget it. This park is remote, and dense fog often rolls in, making it feel eerily silent. If you've ever wanted to feel like you're in a real-life fairy tale, this is the place. But if you think trees are impressive, wait until you see the most legendary rock. Number 4. Yosemite National Park, California. Yosemite is one of the most photographed places on Earth, and for good reason. Its iconic landscapes include El Capitan, Half Dome, and Yosemite Falls. El Capitan, in particular, is a legend in the climbing world. It's a sheer 3,000-foot granite wall that climbers from around the world come to conquer. But here's the downside. Yosemite is crowded. It gets over 4 million visitors every year, and in peak season, it can feel like an outdoor shopping mall. Go early in the morning or during the off-season, late fall or early spring, to avoid the crowds. If you want a peaceful nature escape, you have to go beyond the main attractions. There are lesser-known trails in Yosemite where you can still find solitude, but if you want true solitude, our next park is one of the least visited in the USA, and getting there is no easy task. Number 5. Glacier National Park, Montana. Nicknamed the Crown of the Continent, Glacier National Park is a dreamland of jagged peaks, turquoise lakes, and over 700 miles of hiking trails. But here's the reality. This park is changing fast. A century ago, there were over 150 glaciers here. Today, fewer than 25 remain, and scientists predict that by 2050, most of them will be gone. So if you want to see real glaciers in the USA, now is the time. One of the park's most famous sites is Going to the Sun Road. This 50-mile highway winds through the mountains, offering some of the most breathtaking views in North America. But here's the catch. It's only open for a few months a year because of heavy snowfall. In fact, it can take up to 10 weeks just to plow the snow in spring. If you're looking for solitude, hike the Grinnell Glacier Trail. It takes you through wildflower-filled meadows, past waterfalls, and up to a real glacier. But be prepared. This is bear country. Carry bear spray and make noise while hiking. There's almost no cell service in Glacier National Park, and many roads are unmaintained gravel paths. If you break down here, you could be waiting hours for help. But while Glacier is beautiful, our next park is one of the most dangerous in the USA. Would you dare hike a trail where one wrong step could send you plunging thousands of feet? Number 6. Zion National Park, Utah. Zion is home to some of the most dramatic landscapes in the USA. Towering red cliffs, deep slot canyons, and flowing rivers create a place that feels almost prehistoric. But this park is also known for one of the most terrifying hikes in the world, Angel's Landing. Imagine walking along a narrow ridge with sheer drops on both sides. The only thing keeping you from falling thousands of feet is a metal chain bolted into the rock. And yet, thousands of people take on this challenge every year. Some even try to climb it without holding on to the chain. But if heights aren't your thing, Zion offers another unique experience: the Narrows. This hike takes you directly through a river, where canyon walls rise hundreds of feet above you. Just be careful. Flash floods can turn this peaceful river into a deadly torrent. In summer, temperatures in Zion can soar over 110 degrees Fahrenheit, 43 degrees Celsius. The best time to visit is early spring or late fall when it's cooler. Zion is so popular that during peak season, you can't even drive your own car into the park. Instead, you have to take a shuttle bus. But if you think Zion is extreme, our next destination is even more remote, and its most famous landmark is rarely ever seen. Number 7. Denali National Park, Alaska. Denali National Park is home to the tallest mountain in North America, Denali, standing at 20,310 feet. But here's the crazy part. Most visitors never even see it. The peak is often covered by clouds, making it an elusive sight. Denali is one of the most remote national parks in the USA. There's only one road, and only a small portion of it is open to private vehicles. Instead, visitors take park buses deep into the wilderness. The further you go, the wilder it gets. If you want to see grizzly bears, wolves, and moose, this is one of the best places to do it. Just remember, you're in their territory, not the other way around. Denali's weather is brutal. It can be sunny one moment, then freezing and snowing the next. Even in summer, temperatures can drop below freezing at night. But if you think Denali's conditions are harsh, wait until you see our next park, the hottest place on Earth. Number 8. Death Valley National Park, California, Nevada. Welcome to the hottest place on Earth. Death Valley holds the world record for the highest temperature ever recorded, 134 degrees Fahrenheit, 57 degrees Celsius. But here's the surprising part. Life exists even in these extreme conditions. Despite its harsh name, Death Valley is home to rare desert animals, mysterious moving rocks, and even tiny fish that survive in isolated springs. And for a few weeks every few years, the valley experiences a super bloom, when millions of wildflowers burst into color. If your car breaks down in summer, you could be in serious trouble. The heat is so intense that it can melt car tires and cause engines to fail. There are almost no gas stations inside Death Valley, and cell service is non-existent. If you go, bring extra water, fuel, and an emergency plan. But Death Valley isn't the most visited national park. That title goes to our next destination, which attracts over 12 million visitors a year. Number 9. Great Smoky Mountains National Park, Tennessee, North Carolina. With its misty peaks, rolling forests, and over 800 miles of trails, the Great Smoky Mountains offer something for everyone. But what makes this park so popular? For one, it's within a day's drive for millions of Americans. But beyond accessibility, it's a paradise for hikers, wildlife lovers, and history buffs. The park is home to more species of trees than all of Europe, as well as black bears, fireflies that blink in sync, and hidden waterfalls. In fall, the Smokies transform into a sea of red, orange, and gold. It's one of the most beautiful autumn destinations in the world. Because it's so popular, some parts of the park can feel overcrowded, especially on weekends. To escape the crowds, explore the lesser-known trails, or visit early in the morning. And finally, we've saved the best for last, a park so remote that most people will never step foot in it. Number 10. Katmai National Park, Alaska. Katmai National Park is one of the most untouched places in the USA. There are no roads, no hotels, and almost no people. Instead, it's home to thousands of brown bears. The park's most famous attraction is Brooks Falls, where bears gather to catch salmon mid-air. It's one of the best places in the world to watch wild bears up close. The only way to reach Katmai is by small plane. Once you arrive, there are no roads, only hiking trails and rivers.